What's going on, everyone? So the Denver Nuggets want to make a trade, and they are expected to be very active during this trade deadline. Problem is, they don't really have anything to trade. Now, let's get it out the way, because I know many people are going to be like, you're a Laker fan. Okay, yes, Denver has absolutely owned the Lakers for the last 2 years. It's been rather embarrassing. I'll admit it. Also, Lakers, I get, don't have a world of treasures to trade. But Denver has even less, okay? And just because I'm a Laker fan doesn't mean that I am oblivious to what is going on with the Denver Nuggets and how they got themselves into this place. They had a championship team, right? As a Laker fan, I know as well as anyone else, right? We had a championship team and let go of one of the same guys that Denver just did, right? In KCP. If anyone is qualified to talk about the Denver situation, it's the Laker fans because they just went through the same thing a couple years ago. Denver had it, right? They had the blueprint. Jamal Murray, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic, Jeff Green, right? I know he wasn't this huge, flashy, oh, look at me type player, but he was huge for the culture, for the toughness, right? A guy that was huge during that playoff run for them. On top of that, you had, Jeff Green and just his impact and leadership being in that locker room, right? You can't underestimate the value, guys. Again, Lakers, Jared Dudley. People, Jared Dudley, what was he? That was one of the best signings that the Lakers could have made. Why? Because he was huge as being an extension of the coaches, right? He immediately went into coaching an assistant coaching job, right? Because he was doing that for the Lakers. Those veteran guys are so important. Where did he go? Houston. Now, it wasn't just him, but you don't think he's played a huge part in Houston's development and stuff as a guy that's just really kind of been a locker room presence? And then Bruce Brown, right? Who was, was one of the better six men in the league, gave you a completely different look. When Jamal Murray went to the bench, he could slot in, still initiate, run the offense, be a movement, slasher alongside Jokic that he could dump to, right? Like a guy that you could even slot alongside Jamal Murray. Speaking of the Lakers, right? Bruce Brown is why Denver ran through the Lakers. He completely took D'Angelo Russell out of his element. D'Angelo Russell saved the Lakers in the Grizzlies series, and then was great in the Warriors series on multiple third quarters especially. He had 3 games, I think, where he scored double digits in the third quarter, and then we got to Denver, and it was like he wasn't even on the roster because Bruce Brown did that. Bruce Brown on many nights outside of the Lakers series, when Jamal Murray played like he was Michael Jordan and Michael Porter Jr. played like he was prime Steph Curry, Bruce Brown was arguably on many nights their second best player during that playoff run. He was fantastic for them, and not just the offensive side of things, but just being able to defend the best player, all of that, right? Denver is, I don't see a path for Denver to fix it. You know what they needed to do? Just keep your team intact. If you didn't lose Bruce Brown, okay, to be fair, Bruce Brown, $22 million, you probably would have lost him either way. So let's remove Bruce Brown from the conversation. That, it hurts, right? But let's move that from the conversation. Should have kept Jeff Green. Again, guy, versatile, play the 4, play the 5. What he did to that locker room, to that presence, to the young guys, being that vet for the young guys, like a Christian Brown and guys like that. You next season, following up, you can't lose your best two-way guy in KCP, right? You needed to keep that team intact. You were right there. KCP talked about how they were exhausted, gassed, and burnt, and they still went to a Game 7. Even with Jamal Murray playing like a shell of himself, Michael Porter Jr. was so bad, Mike Malone had to come to his defense, right? Denver played atrocious in that Minnesota series and still made it to a Game 7 and was up, what were they up, 20? And had a chance and should have won that game, and they blew it. They probably beat Dallas, in my opinion, because I don't think Dallas has any answer for them. Even with Jamal Murray kind of playing all, that's the biggest problem, is Jamal Murray, when he plays the Lakers, is Michael Jordan. He plays any other team, he's terrible. Even that playoff run where they won the championship, Jamal Murray in every series he was not very good. He was better than he has been, but he still wasn't very good. That Lakers series, he was fantastic. And then you watch the Miami series, and he was rough, right? I mean, he hit big shots and big moments. He's not afraid of the moment, right? But he's not at times you're like, man, is this guy really, you should almost get off of him. right? Like you had the pack, you had the pieces, right? Let Peyton and Brown and these young guys kind of just grow and learn the ropes and kind of figure stuff out, right? While you had the core, and let them kind of start taking the next steps to really kind of elevate your bench. And, stay the course and see what happens. If you can get a piece around the edges or whatever, your best move was, let's swap KCP with Russell Westbrook. And look, believe it or not, Russell Westbrook's actually been pretty good for them. Like, he hasn't been great. He still has his nights where you're just like, ooh, like, man, this guy is bad. But he's been very good for them this season. Really getting after it on the defense side. He is he's evolved into like a defensive stopper out on the perimeter. That dude is tough defensively. And he still has the athleticism and foot speed and strength and physicality for the defense side of things. But, they had it. They had the core, they had the nucleus that you just won a championship with, and then literally within 2 seasons lost half of it, right? Like literally, your top 7 guys, 3 of them are gone, right? Like, and now you're hoping Christian Brown kind of step into that, and he's a little questionable, right? Michael Porter Jr., he's kind of hot and cold and all over the place at times. Jamal Murray doesn't look like Jamal Murray, right? Like now, look, if Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are playing the way that they're playing, probably not winning a championship regardless, but you're probably in a better position, right? And you have just better chemistry. You have all those things. The other guys can kind of step up, play a role. Maybe you look to make a move, right? Instead of just losing KCP for nothing, you might have been able to flip him into something that maybe made some more sense, or at worst had some better trade value, right? Bruce Brown, yeah, like it sucks that $22 million, but what were your other options, right? Like Denver, I just felt did everything they could to just sabotage themselves. And now they're like, okay, well, we got a pick to trade and we're going to try to turn. Like, unless you're trading Christian Brown, Peyton, Watson, and all these guys, right? Like, unless you're trading the young guys, which you're not going to get a huge return for, like, what are you going to get? Right? Like, either that or you're trading one of your main guys. Trading Michael Porter Jr. to a team that maybe gives you several needs, and instead of getting like the caliber of player, you're getting like multiple pieces that just maybe make you deeper and overall better, right? Like maybe get one of these teams that are like, man, we could turn Michael Porter Jr. into like several guys. Maybe could you get could you go to like Utah and get like a Kessler for like a backup big, so you finally actually have a backup big instead of like moving Aaron Gordon to the 5 on nights, right? And I don't know, Colin Sexton or something like that. I don't know. Like, what are you gonna get? Right? Like, honestly, like, what are you gonna get? Right? Like, if you could do something like that, maybe even clear some money so you can kind of retool next season. Look, you can never rule Denver out. Denver's always gonna be a juggernaut as long as they have Jokic. I just don't buy them as a contender this year, right? Once you get to the playoffs, it's a very different game. But Jamal Murray, he has not looked great the last few seasons. Even when they won, he didn't look great at times. He had his games, he had his moments. Jokic was just ridiculous, right? And then, again, Michael Porter Jr. had great runs, and Aaron Gordon had 30 and 15 games and stuff like that, right? Like, it was the collective of that roster with Jokic just being so good. Kind of remind me of, when Milwaukee won, right? Like, Giannis was just so great. And everyone else around him, are probably third options. Like Drew Holiday's not really a second. He's probably a third option. Chris Middleton's probably a third option. But you pair those guys together with, the other people, Brook Lopez and all that stuff, you win a championship, right? It's kind of what Denver felt like. Like Jokic was just so much better than everybody. And you add in a Jamal Murray who's probably your third option. A Mike Porter Jr. who's probably your third option. Aaron Gordon who's probably your third option, right? And just collectively with the just top stature of Jokic, boom, now you're this dominant team. That's kind of what that felt like. I don't know how Denver turns this around, right? Unless you're, like I said, unless you're trading Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray, right? I don't know how you're going to get that piece or two that you need. And in all honesty, if you're Denver at this point, it's probably in your best interest to kind of just retool a little bit. Right? If you want to try to maximize Jokic's window and try to go win a championship, right? You almost kind of, Jamal Murray isn't so good. Even when he's at his peak, he's not so good he's untradeable, right? do you explore and see like maybe you could get something and kind of maybe retool a little bit here? Maybe try to get a little younger and athletic and stuff. I mean, look at some of these top teams, right? Look at like OKC and Houston and all these guys. Like they just have these young guns that are just boom, 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 right? Like put a bunch of young guns around Jokic and like let him just pick teams apart, right? Just get a good quality guard that can just like do multiple things on the court for you, like get some depth, right? Get an actual big man that can take some pressure off of Jokic. I don't know. Like, what else do you do at this point? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Kind of mixed in the middle. What do you think is the best course for Denver? I'd love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.